doing this kind of shadow work allows us to bring up subconscious thoughts. And if they are not in favor of us or they're not serving us, it's time to shift into new thoughts and new beliefs that will serve us. You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perick, business and mindset mentor and imposter syndrome expert. I'm so excited for today's episode, you guys, but first let me tell you about the ways that you can work with me. And I have a little announcement for you guys too. So first things first, coaching in Voxer. It's happening, it's going down, and it's one of the only close proximity ways you can work with me. You and me, a 90-minute deep dive to figure out what we're going to get into during our 3 months together. Worthiness, receiving more money through your business, the identity of 5-figure months, creating 5-figure months, imposter syndrome as a leader. And then, like I said, you have me in Voxer for 3 months so we can go through all of that and completely shift your identity and your business. I have the best conversations in Voxer with my clients. I basically treat my messages like podcast episodes. It's so transformative for me when I get coached in Voxer and so transformative for my clients as well. So you can DM me on Instagram at your coach Jill or head to the link in my show notes to apply. And a very exciting announcement. I am doing a content course. I get asked all the time how I come up with the content that I do. And my content is the number one thing that brings in new clients. My current clients love my content, and I make 5 figures a month simply from posting on Instagram. But it's also how I post and what I say and how I'm completely, totally myself in my content. So the course is going to be called Unfiltered and Filthy Rich, making money from content and being fully fucking yourself. And there will be some sweet bonuses to go along with the release of that course, and that will be happening in October. And I can't wait for you guys to dive in when I release it. So all those details are going to come to you soon. Okay, time to get into the episode. So on the heels of me talking about the content course, here's the thing. There is absolutely some shadow work that has to be involved if you are going to show up completely fucking unfiltered and completely authentically you. Before we can even get into the how-to when it comes to what to say online and how to say it in your own authentic voice, this requires really seeing yourself. It requires you to address certain thoughts about yourself. It requires you to look at the parts of you that you may not like. It requires you to stop fucking people-pleasing so much. Like something I realized about a year ago was that I was holding back on sharing wins when it came to money or anything in relation to money because I had this sneaking, nagging thought that my friends would judge me or say something to me about it when they saw me. And these are not people who would ever judge me or say something to me about it, but just the thought of it had me holding back. And it's not always conscious at first, right? Like sometimes we're thinking it without even realizing it, right? So doing this kind of shadow work allows us to bring up subconscious thoughts. And if they are not in favor of us or they're not serving us, it's time to shift into new thoughts and new beliefs that will serve us. The truth is, there are so many strategies and so many programs out there for showing up and sharing content. There's content formulas and content prompts and 30-day challenges, but all of that will fall flat or be difficult to do if you are harboring imposter syndrome, fear, and self-doubt behind the scenes. Showing up and sharing content requires thoughts that are conducive with showing up and sharing content. And it's way more than just showing up and showing your face and saying words. That's quite honestly the easy part. It's what you're saying and how you're saying it. It's the confidence. It's the energy behind the words that you're saying. And when you don't feel like an expert, when you feel like you're not qualified, and when you think that if you show up authentically, you're going to be seen as incapable or incompetent, then yeah, it's going to be fucking hard to show up. And similar to what I shared earlier around my weird fear of judgment with my friends, in the last couple of years, as my business has done really well financially, I had to do some of this shadow work around sharing income wins. I had so many stories around money and what it would mean about me if I started sharing my income. I even had actual evidence of people having an issue with it. Like as recent as a couple of months ago, certain people in my family would send me actual Facebook messages being like, you should not be sharing your income online, which is so fucking annoying. But honestly, those circumstances used to hold me back in the beginning because of what I was making it mean about myself, that I was a coach sharing income milestones. So many stories of being greedy or hungry for money or only focused on the money came up, and I had to do the shadow work to dispel them. So let's talk for a second about what shadow work really is. Shadow work is looking at your unhealed and not so pretty parts of yourself, looking at the stories of unworthiness, the fears and the self-doubts, and what unhealthy and non-accepting things you may believe about yourself. It's also about looking at your ego. Psychologist Carl Jung created shadow work and defined it as the unconscious parts of ourselves that we don't want to identify with, because when we do, it means something not great about ourselves. So for me, it was shadow work that I had to do when it came to parts of me that I was dismissing, like the part of me that wants to be paid well and wants to make a lot of money. But in my subconscious, I believed it was bad to want those things. Does this make sense? To me, doing the shadow work required to show up authentically, honestly, and completely unfiltered means that we are being aware of what's happening in our brains and in our bodies when we go to show up on social media. Some of the work that I do with my clients in closer proximity containers is nervous system regulation, because for highly sensitive people, sometimes showing up online can feel very unsafe, very dysregulating. We kind of go into like a freeze state where you come up totally and completely blank. So have you ever had so many ideas and then froze up the second you go to share it online? And does it feel like you're not really maximizing your content potential? You are probably feeling dysregulated and your body is jumping in to help you feel safe again. So that's one piece of it. It's becoming totally aware of how you feel and what thoughts are running through your head when you go to create content for your business or when you actually show up to sell your services. Hey guys, I hope you're loving today's episode. I am just taking a brief pause in today's episode to share with you a client testimonial. These testimonials are either from group coaching clients or clients who are in my one-to-one coaching program. And I can't wait for you to hear how I have changed their lives and their businesses for the better.
So I've worked with Jill for the last 3 years of my business. Initially, I worked with her as a new entrepreneur, trying to get past the imposter syndrome I was feeling as I just started my business and was just trying to get clients right away. And then more recently, I was stuck in a rut, not really sure what to do with my business, feeling stuck and unaligned with the clients. I was almost at a point where I was ready to quit my business because I was just so fed up with how I was feeling and where I was. But working with Jill, every time she's helped me up-level my business, every time I've been working with her, I've signed my next level, highest paying client. So I can't say enough about working with her and the mindset shifts that she's helped me with.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Now let's get back to the episode. And I mean, actually take a second. How do you feel when you go to write content? What is your first thought when you open the app to create an Instagram story? Are you spinning out about what you're saying, if anyone cares, why should you even do it, etc.? This is your very first step to showing up confidently online. Noticing when you don't feel confident and starting there. Like when I was really dysregulated and not confident in myself, I actually remember a time in late 2021 when my income had gone down a bit because this was happening. I would literally get sleepy whenever I tried to show up. Like I was like, nope, we're actually going to take a nap right now because my body wanted to distract me from creating content. And it's like getting on the train without a ticket. You can get on the train and sit there in fear, wondering if someone is going to come around and kick you off. You don't enjoy the ride on the train. You're terrified the whole time. And even if you do get to your destination, you think, I got away with it once more. But you may as well purchase the ticket and do the work and sit your ass on the train, read a book, enjoying the ride, and you'll absolutely get to your destination this way. The ride will be more enjoyable, and creating content, showing up, and selling is going to be so much more enjoyable when you do this work. So I'm going to share with you a couple of the prompts from a shadow work exercise, and keep in mind that there's going to be an entire shadow work module inside of the Unfiltered and Filthy Rich course. You'll begin noticing what's happening in your body and what thoughts you're having, regulating your nervous system so you feel safe showing up to share your services, because it can really feel threatening and scary when you don't feel good enough to put yourself out there and ask for people to pay for your services. And it's scary to do that consistently, right? So we'll actually be doing a lot of shadow work and Unfiltered and Filthy Rich, like I said, so you can show up confidently and attract soulmate clients to your offers, because confidence and energy is everything when you are selling your services to your audience. Okay, so I'm going to list the shadow work prompts now, and if you're driving, just come back to this episode when you're able to write these down. And if you're not driving, get out a pen or your phone and write these questions out. What do I think my audience thinks about me when I show up? Who am I afraid will see my content? What am I afraid they'll think? What content triggers me when I see other people making it? Why do I think that it triggers me? And why does it actually trigger me? And if I was really honest with myself, I don't want to share thing because I don't want people to think ... So if I was really honest with myself, I don't want to share whatever it is you don't want to share because I don't want people to think blank. So take some time, make a whole ritual out of it, light a candle, get cozy with your journal, and answer these questions. They will absolutely get you digging deep and will probably bring up some subconscious beliefs and thoughts you had no idea existed, hence why they're subconscious. And I'm telling you, once you start looking at these things, you will realize that showing up and selling your services is so much deeper than just getting online and saying words. For somebody who is highly sensitive, it can really be a real source of fear and anxiety. And because a lot of us here are highly sensitive people who have learned to take our worth and how we're doing off of the validation of others, showing up on social media to sell our services can feel shitty because you are not receiving that praise and that validation that you're used to. And this will lead to you showing up inconsistently, half-assing your content, and ultimately not attracting or signing your soulmate clients. If this episode spoke to you and you know you need to do the inner work so you can show up confidently, feel like the expert, and create the coaching business you've always wanted, well, my love, that is my jam, that's my bread, that's my butter. So get excited for the content course, Unfiltered and Filthy Rich. Next week, you'll be able to get on the wait list, which will give you access to a special bonus in addition to the sale price. In my show notes, you'll find the click here link where you can find the application to coach with me for 3 months in Voxer, or you can get access to my subconscious mind reprogramming bundles. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to learn how you can work with me, where you can buy my best-selling book, You're Not Special, and how to get on my email list for free. Screenshot this episode and add it to your Instagram stories, tagging me at YourCoachJill. See you next time.